I agree with Ruchi and Chaitanya in their philosophical thesis on people who are part of the team along the way, from early employees to people who join along the way, creating disproportionate wealth for themselves, right? And by disproportionate, I mean maybe a multiplier of 3 to 5 times at the very least of what they would have made as income had they continued in a more stable job, which they have left to kind of come and join you, right? I think the first thing one has to understand as a founder, and it's a very personal journey, is ESOPs are complicated, right? It's not straightforward, right? There are multiple things, and but once you understand it, you need to bind it to what you feel is right, right? So ESOPs is basically the first guiding principle is what percentage of your company should be owned by non-promoters. You should know that, right? In our case, we started off at 15%. We are now at 12 to 13%. Every time we have diluted, as Chaitanya said, we have added to the pool. So, and now the company is much larger. So we do have obviously senior and more tenured folks having more percentage of that, and younger ones kind of earning their way. But knowing at the very top what percentage of your company needs to be owned by its people is important. Second thing is, and it's defined by literally three metrics, right? One is what is your vesting cycle, and this is now becoming fairly standard. By vesting, so there are like when you make an ESOP plan, right? ESOPs are options. So when they vest, it means the employee has a right to exercise, right? So vesting is you have the right. Then exercising is you actually buy the stock, or you kind of exercise the option. And third is you can then kind of sell it or whatever. And these are three very distinct phases of this thing, and each of them is important. Vesting is when it vests. Exercising is till when can you exercise. So a lot of plans will say you can exercise only when you are in the company, or up till 6 months after you leave, which basically the philosophy is that ESOP is retention, not reward, right? And that's again a philosophical thing founders have to think about. And third is at what price do you buy. So in my view, given, and this is now layered by government, right? The taxation on ESOPs is extremely poor. Okay, government has not understood how to tax ESOPs in a way that rewards employees commensurate to the effort that they're taking. I think Lakshman will tell more, but the natural broad tax, depending upon income levels, is roughly between 42 to 47%, which basically means half the value is gone, right? In addition to that, if you have vesting periods that are long, exercise periods and when you exercise and your strike price is lower, you have to pay nominal tax. And again, a lot of employees don't know that, right? So you exercise to save tax for the future because you want long-term capital gains, but you have to pay tax today. You tax 2 times. It's all super important stuff, and you don't know this. Like, I did not know this when I started off. I thought it's fairly straightforward, but you kind of learn along the way. So you have to make sure that employees can vest in a fair way. Typically, it's a cliff of 1 year followed by 3 years pro rata. Your exercise period should be unlimited, because at least personally I feel that employees, once you vest the stock, they should be able to exercise it whenever they want, whether they're with the company or not. And third is strike price should be much lower than current. You cannot say it's basis last round valuation or whatever, because you never know. That's not in the employee's hand, is naturally inflated, right? So my view is it should be at face value, but should be much lower than what current round is. That's when it becomes real. I think from a communication standpoint, I think founders should really be able to tell employees at an example level, okay, you have 100 ESOPs, here is how much is vested, here is what the vesting schedule is, here is what exercising means, here is what exercising without liquidation means, here is what exercising means today without liquidation from a tax standpoint, versus in 3 years, how much more tax you'll have to pay because it's short term versus long term. This is all important stuff that employees need to know, because it's an asset class that they weren't. So I think founders need to do this. So I do this in all hands. We have ESOP town halls for new employees. We do this. We have an open door with our CFO who's able to explain this on case by case basis. My strong urge, and you guys I'm hoping this panel is heard by someone in the government who can take the decisions. But
Yes.
honestly, I just feel the government plays the biggest role.
Yes.
Like Indian founders are finding their way, right, from promoter-driven businesses which never gave ESOPs to now
Yes.
people like us kind of saying we will give a lot more. I think government has to play its role now.
Revolutionize your startup's equity management with Qapita. Request a demo today.